Let's just make sure if it's already recording. My bad. I just have to confirm. Ah, there it is. It is recording. 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 There we go. Sorry about that, everyone. For those who may or may not be watching. Ah, there it is. It is recording. There we go. Sorry about that, everyone. For those who may or may not be watching. Ah, there it is. It is recording. There we go. Sorry about that, everyone. There. Where is it? Not here. I'm just going to try relaunching it because I'm getting some feedback, it looks like. Or maybe not. I might have fixed it. Wouldn't be a stream without technical difficulties, right? Alright. Forgot that I didn't have my mic in. Now I'm going to mute myself on the live stream just so that I can hear myself without an echo. Yes, I did one of these a while back. Sorry, I have not kept up. It's been a little crazy with with just everything going on in life. So my hope is to continue. My hope is just to continue going on these, kind of doing behind Coach, after Coach. So after Coach's Patreon live stream, the plan is to get these going kind of right after, about, I don't know, 30 minutes or so afterwards. And then if he, for whatever reason, like today, hopefully he feels better, sick at the moment, sounds like, so I would still just do one anyways. So hopefully this is the first of a long line of weekly videos. Kind of the goal of these guys, these streams, is to just encourage, sorry, I just have to, there we go, make sure that's still working. Trying to encourage, there we go, encourage, for those interested, a little behind the scenes. Little small updates maybe, stuff that's interesting to cover. Like, for example, we'll be covering probably DC Crit today because that part's really cool. If you don't know, they've been doing a lot of work for DC 20, a lot of devoted fans, among other things, making tools and resources and stuff like that. So I'm using DC Crit stuff, so I'm hoping to kind of showcase some of that stuff. And then, of course, if anybody has any comments, swings by, says hi, feel free to talk about whatever interests you. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep kind of talking about some Voyage of Legacy stuff and, you know, other people I can shout out in the DC 20 community. I wanted to say universe there for a second. Expanded universe. So, as of right now, I know there's a bit of a backlog, and I am sorry. We have not put anything on the Voyage Legacy channel for some time. Been doing a lot of stuff in the background, and a lot of life stuff going on. And the room I'm in is actually the new office now in streaming, which is why it's going to look a little different here behind me. Actually, to this side is just a shelving unit with all the little stuff. Right? All the little, oh, you might not be able to see it there. But anyways, all props for our recording, all other stuff that I'll get into here shortly. And then, of course, on this side over here is just a bunch of my, I don't know, fun decorative stuff, sometimes some inspiration. See, Mega Man very important figure in my past. God, I love the Mega Man 2 soundtrack, just hits differently. Yeah, and then as well as, I haven't turned it on in forever, but, PS5 and Switch and other stuff. As I imagine, all of us, a part of this genre, are probably also gamers, so, good company. Yeah, so where to start? Let's start with the update of how things have been going. So, yes, I know there's only 2 chapters or episodes on YouTube. We are still recording. Editing is the bottleneck. I've recently found an editor, someone who actually might be joining going forward as well. So that's kind of cool. Waiting to see how that goes. So hopefully with his help I can focus on the other projects I've been focusing on for Voyage of Legacies, which I'm just going to call Vol at any given time. So if you hear Vol, it's Voyage of Legacies. So yeah, he's going to help with that so that I can have more time to work on this other stuff, as well as game prep and other things, right? The whole plan kind of for Voyage of Legacies going forward is I want to encourage play, obviously like TTRPG via DC20, play with a emphasis on players and to an extent GMs having campaigns run that are the voyage of their characters and decisions, legacies that will influence the world going forward. I'm trying to foster that and encourage that, and that's hence why the name of the channel. I know it's a bit wordy. So, yeah, we that's kind of the idea there. So to that end, we're trying to, still in development, of course, coming up with our own DC20 campaign and publish it. Either digital, well, both digital and also hopefully not paperback, what's the term? Book form, right? Physical, for people to run at their own tables, right? And to also foster a community that if you're running it, to include comments about what you guys did, how you changed things, how you kept it the same, because I expect Coach being the home brewer that he is, I expect everybody who would run like a Voyage of Legacies campaign to change things, right? I mean, totally. If your first time you want to run it straight out of the book, we'll have that as well. But we'll also have some options of things you can change and things that can, manipulate a bit and change things here. And maybe this is this way, and maybe this is that way. And but the core plan around it is to similar to like. BioWare, I think, that did the Mass Effect series, where each game in the installment you can load up a previous save file to continue kind of the journey of the game into this next chapter. So the idea is everyone kind of starts at a same-ish kind of singular location, and then the first book will cover the first few levels, and there's different branching paths that may happen, right? So the ending outcome is different. You're not always going the same way necessarily, right? Kind of choose your own adventure. But the ending is such that book 2 would continue from there. And then the same for book 3 and possibly beyond. So that's kind of fun with a lot of humor built in that is both fantasy but also real world adjacent, because it's a isekai setting, which means entering another world, right? So it's a world akin to ours, similar in certain ways but very different in others, right? It's kind of the general theme of that. And so hopefully the major plan is do like a 3-book kind of campaign setting for DC20, or using DC20. I will also see about talking to Coach, potentially opening it up for D&D if they need to bridge it or something like that, or just be like, Coach, he's made the DC20 conversion guide for D&D, right, or 5e. But the plan is to just go straight to DC20, and that's going to be the core kind of going forward. Because a lot of the fundamentals that Coach talks about, I very strongly agree with, right? concept, the focal point being on fun, right? So, yeah, so that's kind of the general gist. I think I might have explained that in the past. Getting into some of the fun, let's see if I can show some updates on art. Sorry, give me 2 seconds here. I'm just going to move some things around because it's kind of irritating to not have your mouse. I would rather lose my extra keyboard than lose my mouse. There we go. Let's see if that's almost. There we go. There. That might be a little bit easier now. Wouldn't be a new live playlist if there wasn't issues, right? Let's see. Let's try this. Oh no. Actually, wonder if I can go and just do. Where is PC stream? There we go. No, not that one. I don't want that one. Let's put that down. You know what? Let's just add a new one here. Let's go. There we go. Oh, wait, I gotta go on this one here. There we go. Let's hope this works. Here, let me get on the... Alright, let's hope this works. Let me just put that down a bit. There we go. There we go. Alright, I'll put that... There's no real good place to put that. Unless I kind of go over here. Actually, I'll go this way instead. There we go. Yeah, there we go. A little down, so hope you guys see that. I'll see. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's coming up. Cool. So, I was mentioning DC Crit. I was just talking to, gonna get the pronunciation wrong, I'm sure, but Mantic. Mantic, yeah, M-A-N-T-I-C. I believe the creator of DC Crit. If not the creator, massive influencer of DC Crit. Like, yeah, huge. The reason why I'm kind of showing it is, of course, to support, but also I'm starting to use DC Crit for my stuff now. Onyx Studios, who you may also know from the DC20 community, created a, what's it called? An importer for Foundry VTT. I have not personally used that yet, but that's kind of the next stage. But for right now, I can show you, because I have this done. Of course, this is everyone's, and mine's public as well. A bitrab, right? That keyboard doesn't work. Bitrab. That's me. So this guy here, sorry if it's a bit small. Actually, you know what? I'll take over the whole screen on this one. So, there we go. So, what the fantasy around a bitrab is we want to, when players first encounter the world, there are certain creatures, because it's a low-level game, all the creatures are typically low-level, bitrabs being one of those that are, you kind of understand, like, oh yeah, that's a rabbit-like creature, or bunny-like creature, right? But things that seem a little out of place, like almost a jackalope feel if you want, but out of place in the sense of the horn, for example. That should be one of those that are definitely out of place. There's these antennae over here, right? These guys here, so that the fantasy is the antennae glow, and as they glow, they have some magic. So the bitrab has some feature of magic. It can glow, and two of them come kind of in front of it, and between them, a portal is created. It's kind of unstable and it's only short term. The other two antennae go through the portal, and somewhere else, relatively nearby, another portal appears. And that's the way it can teleport or bounce, if you will, from area to area. That's kind of the fantasy of it. And then, of course, the horn is used for defensive purposes as well as aggression, right? The bitrab, similar to bunnies, can suddenly, get the zoomies or all of a sudden get upset, do kind of that hind stomp or whatever. But because they had the access to the portal and everything that they could and do at times, this is going to be showcased in a couple of episodes going forward, a couple chapters to look forward to it, do a what I refer to as a bitrab missile strike. So you jump through a portal, and then that other portal that appears is slightly higher, right? It's up in the air. So it knows that going forward, it's going to go head first as kind of a rammed hit. So, going forward, looking here at some of the stats, we're looking at HP, looking at 6, kind of as a general, PD being 10, 15, 20, of course, 80 being 14, 19, 24. The rationale here is the PD is being your personal or your point defense. I also think of it for still as personal defense, but point defense. It kind of has lower because it can be. It can kind of be shot and not necessarily as still an animal, still not necessarily aware, right? Like it's being targeted at times, perhaps. But it's very dexterous, right? So it can kind of move out of the way, high agility, right? Comparatively. And so the idea is, I can bounce out of kind of more explosions for your area defense, right? That kind of idea. Might, of course, this guy is not buff by any stretch, so -2 on that. Agility, again, high agility. Charisma. Bunnies tend to be kind of charismatic in the sense that, look, it's a bunny, that kind of idea. So I figured, a little higher charisma, but it's still an animal and not a top predator either. So I figured an int of -1 would be kind of appropriate. Again, for your own table, feel free to adjust these. Tiny beast, level 0 skirmisher, and then the only reason is because can jump away, bounce in, right? Like kind of idea, right? So it can kind of go in and out in that sense. The resistances. So resistance to psychic. Now there is a rationale for this, and it goes a little bit on the lore. It has to do with the antennae, and I don't want to give too much away right now, so I'm gonna leave that. Poison, again, there's a kind of a lore reason. There's actually, I'll give this much away. There's the influence of the bitrab that led to its current day creation was actually influenced by 2 separate deities at different times. So there's features from it that are actually respective from 2 deities interfering. So Sonic, of course, that's going to be changed. So, but for now, Sonic. I'm going to switch to fire potentially. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It might be none whatsoever. Condition slow immune, only because portal, it doesn't need to be slow when it can just teleport away to right? Skills, trickery, arcana, survival, not by much, but a little bit if it's needed. Senses, some dark vision, and through the paws of its pad, some tremor sense, not much, just a little bit, right? A little dark vision. Other speeds, dash in a straight line, can go up to 8 spaces for 1 AP once per turn. Thought that was kind of fun, right? Like just the zoomies, right? Not that it's going to be doing that necessarily often, but little zoomies. Again, take or leave it, Bitrad bounce. Within the line of sight of a bitrad's antenna rise and shimmer to teleport or bounce. 2 of the 4 flagellums, ends of the antenna, yes, that's the actual word, glow and open a tiny portal, while the other 2 glowing flagellum reach through and sustain the portal on the other side. The portal ends as soon as the flagellums stop holding it open. And I put a little, little comments. I love adding a little flavor, right? So one tiny portal opens and the other quickly closes. Bounce breather, due to the strain of altering reality, it can only bounce once per turn. That's just so you don't make something like crazy for your players, right? To like, right? Attacks, 2 actions. Again, small creature, pretty early on. I mean, level I think was 0. Yeah, level 0, right? Bit red bounce within the line of sight. Bit red's antenna rise and shimmer. Teleporter bound. Oh no, I already read that. Sorry. Here we go. Attack. So +2 to attack. Say DC 10, speed 6. Nothing crazy here. But a bit bite. 1 piercing damage. That's the little teeth, and I've had to include the Monty Python quote from Monty Python Holy Grail. That's the most foul, cruel, and bad-tempered rodent you ever set your eyes on. Tim the Enchanter. For those who've watched it, you'll totally get it. So hopefully you enjoy that. I might not be able to on the final release, right? Copyright stuff, but thought it was kind of fun. Ram, 1 piercing damage, unless 2 spaces away for a thrusting force. So the idea is, the horn, and you're charging in with the horn, right? You can't just be next to it and be like, eh. But if you go and give yourself a little bit of an oomph, okay, fair. So if the target of the bit ram's horns within 2 spaces away, then the attack is 2 piercing damage. Can also benefit from bit rab bounce, right? That would be the bit rab missile strike, which I'm coming up for attack enhancements. 1 bit rab bounce within the line of sight. The bit rab teleports up to 5 spaces, can be used as part of attack or retreat actions. Bounce breather to the high strain of altering reality. Bit rabs can only bounce once per turn. It's just that bounce breather. I just want to really reinforce, right? You're not supposed to try and make it the crazy constantly teleporting rabbit all over the place, right? I mean, if you wanted to, but that would probably be once the players are a little bit stronger, I'd recommend, right? Level 0, Attack enhancement, missile strike. If the bit rab bounces, teleports, as part of an attack action, then the bit rab may use its whole body as a missile to strike the target, dealing a total of 3 piercing damage on normal hit. Right? I want that kind of big impact. And 3, we know 3 is massive damage, right? So I'm putting some conditions, right? The target must be the full 5 spaces away, and that's just, again, for the amount of momentum. Then the bit rab suffers stun 1. I mean, I should probably also include, this includes collision damage and all that kind of stuff, because there's that potentiality as well, of course, but I just wanted to, stun them for a turn, right? Because they just kind of hit their head and their horn against a target, right? So it's like a high risk, quote unquote high damage, right? 3 damage, right? But high risk, you're stunned for an entire round. You just have to recover from that. And then reactions is a back out bounce, call it. So after a failed melee attack against a bit rab, melee only, because if it's ranged, it's not going to necessarily understand or see or conceive per se, right? So I figured as a creature, bit rab or back out bounce after a failed melee attack against a bit rab, the bit rab may choose to teleport up to 5 spaces away to be outside of melee attack range. I should also probably include there that the idea is this is not supposed to provoke attacks of opportunity. I don't think I have to include that because rules is written, I believe if you are teleporting out of range, that does not provoke to begin with. So I don't think I have to, but I might make a note there later on. Of course, it's still in development, like everything. So, and a little bit of lore I thought would be kind of fun. Commonly found small bunny-like or rabbit-like creature in the forests around the Verkuven Isle. One different feature are 4 thin protruding antennae from the top of their heads, ending with a mystical-looking fan of very thin strands, akin to fuzzy feelers. Another different feature is a sharp horn protruding from the center of its head, approximately the length of the species' head. It's quite a long horn, as you saw from the photos. These creatures seem to spend a decent portion of their day in the month of traits, foraging for berries, interacting with others of their kind, zooming around in short bursts, grooming, which includes rubbing its horn on hard surfaces to keep its horn sharp, Also, it is not uncommon to see them being harassed by Corsola and harassing them back. I'll get into Corsola later on here. Normal colors of fur in the season include pale orange, brown, pale yellow, black, pale green. Very rare and out of season color, white. Rare color mixes of 2 or even more 3 rare colors. Uncommon features are stripes or circular patches of black, but very rarely seen colored circle patches of other common colors. I'm just trying to get the general gist of like there's a different range of colors, and again I might have to alter that. I can show you some bit rep colors I got here in a second. I also have tame bull with enough time and patience spent. Naturally magical, can teleport within its visual range, seemingly equal distance to normal movement with retaining momentum. Again, if you're familiar with the game Portal rules, right? Sharphorn, seemingly can stab foes with a gouge or skewer attack. Agile, seemingly can dash short distances. Wow, I really need to get rid of the seemingly's. Just notes for myself. Majestic feelers, can or seems to be able to communicate with feelers, the feelers on their antennae somehow. So just kind of want to leave that. Of course, state's still in beta because it's not finished, but great tool to put it in here. Maybe I'll even do a stream showcasing like how to put a monster in because it'd be kind of cool. Another thing that DC Crit has, I'm just getting into it, is the VTC token editor. So I actually just talked to Mantic about it, so kind of cool. I can throw it in. There's a ton of different rings. I think Mantic was saying that he's going to include like 100 or more new additions to rings. So there's going to be a ton of different rings. So that's pretty cool. And then of course you can change all of your brightness, contrast, opacity, and all that kind of stuff. For example, if I were to go, I can actually just show you right here. One of the things I was working on. Actually, let's go here to, where are you? It was, where? No, it was Universal. There we go, Universal Art. In the campaign currently, there are these, I'll showcase a photo here. There are these dark volos. Under the Watcher's influence. So they are the regular volos, for those unaware. I'll just put that down for a second. Regular volo would kind of look like, that was female, let's grab another female for comparison. So this would be a regular, here I'll put it on the side screen. This would be like the regular volo, and this would be the dark volo, alright? The eyes are kind of the key change there, right? And that's the Watcher's influence. So Watcher is a deity in there. He's kind of set up as the BBEG in a way, but he's a deity, and deities are not, if ever, easily killed. So there is that. However, there are ways to change the plans, whether the players will be for it or against it. Currently, the players are against the Watcher kidnapping children, but you never know what players are going to do. He has a reason for it too. And hopefully it's starting to make sense here, slowly. So so the Dark Volo, and so just going to put those down for right now. So great, I'll showcase a little bit of this. Nothing crazy here, so Dark Volo female, let's go with that. Kind of just use the wheel here to zoom in and out. And then get to the size you want. Let's go, there, looks pretty good. Then we can go and throw like, a ring around, and then like down here I was doing something like rotation, because I wanted this red part on the bottom. These are the dark volos tend to be kind of a bit more evil. At least the Watcher seems to be a bit more evil in this, at the moment, at least on the surface. So there's that. So we're going to rotate the reds at the bottom there, right? And then one thing I was doing, which I thought was kind of cool, is like you go here, blend mode, color burn, right? But I didn't want this kind of red right here because I'm like, they're not blob or anything like that. But if we go full blur, the red still stayed there. But anyways, the rot ring with like the color burn, the red, just kind of made that aura of kind of like evil, right? Kind of that's the feel I want to give. So, and then you just download, right, web or PNG and add it to your Foundry game. So, anyways, that's what's going on at the moment for that. But yeah, I just want to really showcase DC Crit in that regard. Let's see, I'll zoom this back out. There we go. DC Crit, because the Mantic and Onyx Studios and the rest are doing a fantastic job of that. I'm just going to turn off that screen for a second. Go back here. Oh, hey! We got someone in. Breakfasty. Oh, hey, Breakfasty. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah. How you doing, man? Yeah, guess who? Yeah, I see that. I see that. Oh, welcome. We're just going through some information on kind of the campaign. You might have gotten a little behind the scenes feel. Okay. I just wasn't sure if you're okay having your name out yet. So that's Xavier. Yippee! Yeah. Hey, Xavier. That's actually who I was talking about earlier with taking over potentially some of the strain of editing, so I can work on some of the other stuff. Welcome. Let's see, what else I want to get into? I want to get into that. Ooh, some art. I want to get into some art, so I will be bringing back that screen here. Sorry. What did I call it? I think I called it. There we go. DC Crit Stream. So I'll bring that back. I mean, right now it's just me in there. But I wanted to showcase, we got Crimson Knight is the name here. We got some art going of now Granicht. So you guys may have heard of Animeus and Goptica or Heltica. Again, my deities can go by different names. It's a lot of it's player influence too, so players in my campaign, and this is the legacy aspect, their decisions become canon, right? So having that kind of canon aspect to having it so far that the players have complete agency to change things that then later another group of players would deal with for better or worse, right? It's kind of fun. I just noticed it's kind of dark on the stream screen. Let's see if I can get some light going here before I... There we go. There, that's probably a little better. So we got Animeus, which we already have showcased. That's in, I think, Chapter 1, Episode 1, with Yuri's character of Daedalus. Daedalus looks Bloom encountered Animeus right away. Kind of like the little creature kind of going around like that, right? So that's been a lot of fun. Sorry, I'm just moving some screen stuff around here just so I can be able to, chat and stuff like that. And he said there'd be light. Yeah. And then, let's get back to that. There we go. And then here, Goptica or Heltica. So that's going to be showcased. I've already spoiled it in the past, but that's going to be showcased in chapter 3 or 4 once it's out publicly. So in 3 or 4 you'll be able to see that. So that's going to be cool. That is kind of my goblin deity, also deity of like kind of more naturey aspect. So there were some redos beforehand. Actually, I'll showcase the before ones as well. And then now I finally have the early Granicht. Now, Granicht is not done yet. So 3 will be getting work done soon, hopefully. Yes, thank you, Breakfasty, or Xavier. Probably call you Breakfasty for the stream, just because, Yeah, no, hopefully I'll be giving you that flash drive shortly, so you can work on it. Tomorrow, that's it. And then, so let's look at the previous ones. That was Blackjack Hope. Now, unfortunately, Blackjack Hope could not finish life, of course, I totally understand, life changes, right? And what you can't do, right? So, Blackjack Hope had to drop out from doing the art, and then I found this other one, the Crimson Knight, who's now doing the art for all the deities. As I like one artist to do the full set of something, right? Commissioned for. So this was the previous Animeus. Put it on the screen here. So that was Animeus beforehand. As you can tell, you know, there's some aspects there, right? Some like paws, a horn, some ears, the hands, the mouth. Almost in a way kind of a beholder feel, right? A little bit. But that's kind of Animeus. A lesser deity of chaos and chaotic change. That's about all I'll say on that. As his story is still, or its story. I may say gender terms, his, they, them, her, right? But all my deities may appear that way, but at any given point they could, you know, change, right? They have that potential. So that was the original Animeus. Now let's go into Crimson Knight's new take on Animeus, which I think encapsulates a bit more of the craziness. So here, we'll go with this one, with the background first. So yeah, very, very different vibes here. And this will be the signed copy as well, right? So the cool thing on this here is Animeus is currently contained in a very beholder, like, yeah, 100%, right? Very contained in a cell at the moment, in like a jail sort of idea, right? It's kind of weird to say he's in deity jail. You know, it's in deity jail. So it has a little influence in the world, but nothing what it once had. Hence why in chapter 1, they kind of made a bit of a pact there that Animeus wants to be freed to have greater influence. So some of the same aspects, right? Kind of beholder and whatnot, but just change, just chaotic change. That's the best I can give you as a description, say for my players. Just chaotic change, which is why even the pitch and the voices were changing all the time, right? So that's pretty cool. Let's see if we can go to, there we go, some of the no backgrounds. Yeah. All right, so we got that going. And then we got Heltica or Goptica. Let's go to the original, which you guys I think you would have seen. Some of you may, some of you may not. Self-insert god called the narrator. It's kind of me, but yeah, I can see where you're going, Breakfasty. There's a potential. There's actually there's going to be a reference in book 2. I don't know if I want to give it away just yet. There's a reference in book 2 to, let's say, DC 20 meta. Just DC 20 meta. I will leave it at that for now because I don't want to spoil it. But it's going to be good, and there's one individual involved with DC 20 that I expect will, how do I put this? Will get a really big chuckle out of. I'm hoping for it. And as soon as it's revealed, I would like everyone at the time to, in support, to refer to this individual as such, because I think it would be absolutely hilarious, and I think I will give this much away. He would get a big kick out of it. So that's as much as I'll say on that. Anyways, getting back here, where am I? I think I could go up one still. Yeah, there we go. All right. Right, we were doing the original. The original is Blackjack Hope. So, the original of Heltica. About the signed version, just so that's nicer. Let's go, there we go. This is kind of the original, right? Where it's kind of, I get the Greek pantheon almost vibe, right? Very, very alluring still, right? That is kind of her vibe, is she can be very alluring, but very passionate. So she may be alluring and kind of lusty at times, or she may be full-on bloodlust, don't care, let's fight and slaughter all, as some of my players recently have come to learn. She's just very passionate, let's say. I'll leave it at that. So yeah, that was the original Heltica. And then we had a reimagining by the new... Oh, okay, yeah, sounds good. Have a good one, Breakfasty. We'll catch you later. And then the new take on it. So that was Blackjack Hope. The next here, Crimson Knight. Here we go. Optica / Heltica, new take. This is with the background too. A bit of a boost in certain areas. Let's go with bit of an expansion. Bit more of the lusty nature, let's call it, of that. Alluring, there's the word. Alluring nature. And, I mean, fantastic background too, like just gorgeous, just perfect. So the plan here is I was actually going to insert at some point a bitrab, and maybe some quersals kind of in the background there, right? But it really gives you that feel, that vibe of it. And then just by itself too, I mean, just perfect. Like really, nature-y, you can get that vibe, but also very alluring vibe as well, right? Like you kind of get that feel from it, right? Which is what we were going for. I only have one deity that's alluring or lusty, and that's Goptica or Heltica. So, yeah. A bit of a change there. And then we got that done. And then lastly, the new one. Now, this is still in progress. This is not finished yet. Some changes that need to be done. Talking about it a little bit beforehand. So this is the deity known as Granicht, which is the deity associated with my Zwergs, which are my dwarves. And these speak kind of a almost German, but not quite German for German speakers. Like, anyone who doesn't know German would probably think it's like proper German, but I intentionally made it a little off in some ways. So let's say a type of German. Let's leave it at that, a type of German. So that's kind of Granicht. And because my Zwergs are living currently in Hardheim, and they're typically a subterranean race for the most part, of course their deity would also be very subterranean, right? Very, they would be the type to, Granicht, I'm going to use he for now, is the type to, bring up the wells of material out of the ground of Aerith and make it available for the Zwerg to harvest. So he would be the ones on the Verkuven Archipelago to, make ore veins happen through the stones, crystals to appear from there. Right, very, very smithy focused, very mining focused, right? Kind of your typical dwarven vibe in that sense, right? But he's also kind of boastful, right? I actually have a second book. That's another thing. I have a second book short story, I shouldn't say book, short story in the works called Volkna, even though my players pronounce it as Volkna, which is an NPC they actually created. So look forward to that. Who is at Zwerg, and it's currently following them around. And Volkna, she meets Granicht, and there's a whole thing around the siege of Hartheim, and it's one of my players' decisions in the past. It's been fantastic. So I hope it encompasses his kind of boastfulness, right? Like, he always has the answer. It might not be the right answer, depending on your point of view, but he always has the answer. Like, you bring him any problem, do this. You sure? Yeah. It could go horribly wrong, but, very boastful, very direct. It's just, that's how it is, right? Stone is stone. Gold is gold, right? Just kind of how it is. Anyways, so like I said, not completed yet, because we need some of that crystal and stone aspect, but outside of that, love it. Absolutely love it. So here is Granicht in progress. Check that out. Right? Just gorgeous with the lava coming down and dripping. He's in a pool of lava and cavernous kind of background, right? Right, deep under the earth of, or the earth of Hartheim, right? Under the soil and everything. That absolutely fantastic, like great job, and just cut it actually 3 days ago. I think it was 4 maybe. Very recent, hot off the artist's computer. Okay, the analogy doesn't really work with hot off the press, but yeah. So there's Granite. The face is, you know, kind of just standard, right? There's just direct, right? There's no messing around, and you know, pulling up all the lava and leading to all the formation, right? And just need to get some crystals going, right? And then and maybe some cool plates, and perfect. Yeah, so that is the update there. Some of you may be wondering going forward when we'd have the next video up. Well, that's going to be in a little bit. Hopefully, if I were to set, like Coach, I totally understand not wanting set timelines. I totally get it. So I don't want to set any firm timelines, but I'm hoping by the end of the year. End of the year, we should have at least chapter 3 out, maybe even chapter 4. I don't know. Let's just say hopefully at least chapter 3 out. Currently, we've recorded 26 sessions or chapters, like I mentioned earlier. So of course, editing is the big bottleneck. Also doing the so like for example here, and I just got rid of that file folder. There we go. One of the nice things too is getting, like, we've already got the map kind of there, version 4, there we go. We already kind of got the map of the Verkuven archipelago right there, right? So we'll be slowly putting all the names and all the locations of the dots there that you might see, right? So kind of getting there. Currently the players have gotten through most of the content here on the first island. They've gotten through kind of most of the content actually on the second island too, the second main large one. So a couple more islands left to explore, and then the big question is, how do we get off and get to the mainland? And maybe next stream I'll actually showcase the mainland of book 2. So that'll be fun. I'll have to keep some things separate, right? Get to the mainland of book 2 in the next stream. Yeah, so that's kind of the plan on that regard. And the last thing I want to kind of mention, actually a couple things. So I've gotten into trying to figure out ways to promote. Some of you might have seen right here, I got a button machine finally, so we got buttons going. And then you might have even seen here, now we got some stickers too. So we got some buttons. This art is by Universal. So I'll just kind of showcase some of the different sizes. We got these guys here. I'll put those kind of forward a little bit. There we go. Kind of larger. I think they're what? 3-inch. Maybe not quite that. Anyways, and then a bit smaller size buttons. So we got these guys here, kind of 1-inch, give or take. Check the exact size. I want to say these are probably about 1/2 inch or so. These guys here, kind of even smaller yet. So we're gonna have buttons going, so that's cool. I've got some like bit wraps and quircels I gotta make buttons out of still. And then, so we got that going. I mentioned earlier some short stories, so I'm proud to announce that we have these guys here. So I hope you enjoy this. I still need to remake this a little bit, so this will be short story of volume 1. Yes, that's intentional. Vol and, oh sorry, I'll go down a little bit. So Vol and volume 1, Voyage of Legacies, volume 1. Anyways, bit of a nerd, I guess. History of the Verkuven archipelago, written by me, art by, I gotta switch because currently it's Blackjack Hope, so I gotta switch it over to Crimson Knight. And it is at the bottom there, the savior of the goblins, gotcha, haha. some of you watching or watch this afterwards the stream may have already encountered an early edition of the story, so that's kind of cool. And here I'll showcase some of the stuff. So we got some got goblins there, we got some tar in there, some photos along the side, and exposition kind of as I go through a story. Because I have a problem, like I call it reading narcolepsy. Typically when I read, I pass out regardless of textbook, fictional series, doesn't matter. I always kind of fall asleep and I just get a little too... But something that helps for me a lot, like pictures, right? So if anyone's like me, I always want to try and include tons of pictures so that you have something to kind of, maybe I've got like ADD or ADHD, maybe. But yeah, pictures on the side, just to kind of, give you that while you're reading the story. For me, if I read a bit, look at the photo, kind of read a bit more, and look at the photo, it helps me continue. So yeah, we got that, on the side, got some Bitrab, but that was universal. I'll show you that later on too. And then we got the old Heltica, right, which now needs to be changed. And then we got Corsoles. There's what I was talking about. I'll show you guys a little bit there. Got some Corsoles done by Dart Owl. But I think Dart Owl is actually a different name, so I will confirm on that, because Dart Owl might prefer to go by a different name. And then Gotcha's friend Bitty, which I probably should go and re-mention. I'll again, you guys get some changes going, and so it's 0.7 version. Average goblin female. Some other variants of Corsoles, and that right there. And then what else we got? Oh, and then we got the map. Now, granted, I will I'll have to edit this so that you can actually follow along. But here would be Gobkuven, or Verkuven in the story, depending on how far you are, and Gobvest. Just outside, kind of as that dot, and then as you go through, this was that passage down here in this deserty area. That is Gauchahaha, which of course leads to the main character's name. But I won't spoil the rationale and whatever that. So we got that. The second one, like I said, is just done. Been writing, but I gotta do some serious editing on that one. Not to mention adding all the photos and everything like that. And it's like double length, double the size, so it's much bigger. And a lot of words in there are actual in German, and so then it becomes, how do I make it? Do I leave it in German and let people figure it out? Do I completely put full edits in English next to it? How do I do that? And yada, 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 right? So actually, I might just include a sidebar like I did with the other stuff. Well, anyways, we'll see. Then what else? So we got that going. Oh, right. I want to show quick. Let's bring this back up. So there we go. We got some bit grabs here. We got some fun ones of the brown, the orange, the black, the kind of the orange is there. There we go. The white, the yellow, and spotted with design too. So let's just go through some of them here. So here we go, sick. Let's open that up. So got your kind of classic, normal, nothing wrong with it. All right, let me continue on here. Okay. So green-eyed. Oh, this is original. There we go, the rough draft. It's the black, right? Spotted, because could be lower reasons for that. And then not spotted, and then orange. Same thing with the spots going through. Same, just general with the spots. White. Why would it be white? Because typically they're to blend in. We haven't been anywhere where there's winter yet. So that's something to look forward to in the future. Spotted for potentiality of what's happening there. And then same thing with kind of a yellower spot. And yeah, that's what we've got going on for that. And then, what else was there? Oh, then Quircels. You guys want to see the Quircels, so here we go. So we got some, typical kind of, in a dynamic image, right? It's kind of flying around. And then we got it there on the ground, and the same thing for like a majestic kind of bluish one, purple. And again, some are signed too, so there's that. Then we got a green one, kind of could blend in nicely. We got a gray one, should blend in. A forest would kind of be bad unless it's bark, but maybe if it was, say, in a desert. Ooh, in a desert, gray among the rocks. There's some potential for blending in there, perhaps. Then we got more on the ground here, different stripes and colors. And yeah, in the air. And if you haven't been able to, here I'll just go to any one of them that's in there. There we go. So they have antennae as well, but the antennae they use a bit more for like little minor grappling. It has little grapples on the inside of the fluffies, but also that fluff allows to quickly change, like it sense air current and change to adjust for gliding and stuff like that. So makes it's able to quickly, through, right, and kind of add as like extra, like a what was the term? I want to say ailerons, I guess, for a plane, but if we're taking a boat analogy, it would be like a rudder, able to kind of quickly, right, shift around. So that's pretty cool. And honestly, her art is absolutely gorgeous. So, and then lastly, I'll show you, it's not quite done yet for her art, but flows, the designs, so they're kind of my like, they would have been actually in book 2, or chapter 2, so you would have already encountered them, at least in the narrative. It's out right now, so we got that. So they also got a bunch of antennae there. It'll probably be a bit more, that's kind of more of a dynamic pose, just early sketch work. And so going forward, he's going to be probably a bit more bushier because, the two-headed and kind of thing that they've encountered before in book 2, or in chapter 2, right? So that kind of two-headed and then like all of a sudden split, not split, fuse together, form. How does that happen, right? So a lot of that bushy to kind of cover it up will be happening for sure. So we got that going, and there was one last thing I wanted to showcase, and then we'll probably wrap up for today. I know it's been a lot of like, drop. Next time we'll probably be a bit more lore base, kind of on updates and whatnot. Oh, maybe even some of my maps. I'm going to work on some of my maps too, just to give you a better showcase and talk about them. The other thing is I'm going to have to kind of reach behind me, so give me a sec here, because I think it is in here, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm actually just going to take off the headphones and hat here for a sec, and kind of will be right back. Just give me 2 seconds. Stay there. Alright. There we go. Oh, I know the hat hair, right? Got me crazy. Alright. So something else I just got recently, so that's kind of maybe an update too, is I just got stickers printed. So we got some of these by the company. I'll showcase them here. We got the logo, of course. Here, let me open that up. So that's a black logo. Let's see if it, there we go. There. Let's see if I can get it to stay in an area where it can focus. There we go. So that's kind of cool. And then above my finger here, there's a tiny QR code. You have to kind of zoom in, but go to the YouTube channel. So really sick in that regard. And then we got, I'll do that one last because that's kind of going to be everyone's favorite. So we've got a couple of fun ones. Let's go here with I only got the first go around is humans and goblins done. I'll get the rest, I'll get Volos and the rest going. I'm still working on that actively. So we got, let's start with the male human. So we got the male human sticker. got that guy right there. Kind of used to. You've probably seen him on some of my tokens and whatnot. Nothing fancy there. But then we got the fun one, or as I like to call it, the fun one. Let's see if I can move this around to get a bit more light over the camera. So here we got, because I like to do a goofy one as well, because who doesn't love a little goof, right? One of my players said, right, in the very first session of chapter 1, I am a human. So there's human right there, right at the top of the sticker. And of course, to inspire googly eyes, how we started with googly eyes for everyone, for our thumbnails and stuff like that. So googly eye human. And now the lady, the fairer side of the humans, let's call it. We have your typical universal female, right? Lady, woman, standard, right? Nothing wrong with original. And then we have goof, because we gotta have goof. So first one was I am a human. So what would this one be? It's not a human. It would be a who woman. Who woman. So who woman. Also with the googly eyes. And then we got the goblins. Goblins. So same, let's go start same. So we got the guys. So there's our kind of male goblin. So lots of fun on that. Alright. And then we got our goof one, because we gotta always have a goof, right? Always gotta have a goof. So I'm like, my goblins in the campaign, you won't really see it until chapter 3, but they're kind of like goblins in most media are like, right? And they kind of sound like that, and they're kind of like, right? Very aggressive, very, feral and stuff like that. My goblins, at least for Kuvin Archipelago, they're chill. They are almost like, the chill, kind of relaxed goblins. They don't want to harm anyone. They don't want to, right? Like they're very passive. They're really chill. They haven't had a lot of aggression against them until recently, but throughout their history, right? So they've been really chill. So they're kind of like vegans in a way. They try to avoid harming, because that would be harming animals. Kind of like that, right? Kind of passive. So I had to go with, of course, their chill nature for gob chillin'. So there's the goof, gob chillin', right? Had to put on shades, even though that's not canon, but it just seemed right, gob chillin'. And then, of course, the lady goblin. So throw that there, all right? There's our lady goblin. And then I had to, of course, include the goof, the lady. So naturally, gob chillin'. Alright, just gob chillin'. So a lot of fun there. And then the last one, my first commission I got done for any creature, at least not for races, but for creature, because it's kind of like, I feel like if Pikachu is the mascot of Pokemon, this would kind of be the mascot of Pokemon, right? Is the Bitrab. So we have one of the Bitrabs printed, right? Kind of the standard one, and that has been put into a sticker. And all the stickers you can notice really on this one, they're all signed. So they're all to support individual artists. So, yeah. Plan, of course, is we hope to include the merch obviously for Patreon as well, but for going to the conventions and that kind of stuff, do kind of the merch for that. And then all proceeds would be going back to Voyage of Legacies. And the plan kind of going forward, I might have to adjust the Patreon tiers a little bit of information, which I will include the Patreon here after we finish uploading this, change in the description and whatnot, include that. But in order to support the works that we're working on here and lead to eventually the Kickstarter with publication, I'm trying to get stickers going. I'm trying to get the buttons going, and this will probably be next stream bit. I'm also looking into, so don't have it done yet, but looking into getting some custom minis printed. Kind of neat. Get some DC-20 minis printed. Having like the DC-20 logo and some Voyage Legacy stuff and specific little characters in DC-20 and Voyage Legacies. Get some minis going. Be kind of neat. And if that goes well, then everything. Now, no plans yet, but I'll hint it right here. Let me know for those, throw in the comments below if you'd be interested in seeing a Voyage of Legacies animated series, where I would be 3D animation from the same models, textured and colored and everything that, going through small like YouTube short segments of what the players went through. So, mention in the comments of this if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, right? Where I take like the same kind of Vox Machina, how they have the animated series, which is based off of the campaign 1 of Critical Role. Same idea for Voyage of Legacies, but with the actual 3D models that you print out, using those to make a animation, short animation from the campaign. So if you're interested in that, definitely comments below. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. With of course like the voice acting and the music and everything, that sound effects, we try to work with that as much as we can. Yeah, so let me know. Like I said, I'll also include the Patreon for this month, for November. It would probably be for the paid tiers of Patreon. I'd probably email directly and see about either sending, depending on the tier, sending some digital art or digital assets, or actual printed and mail them over. So that could be something to look into. Again, Patreon is whole new, just set it up, so it's a whole new thing for that. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But I'm trying to keep this to an hour-long stream, but I can tell it's gone a little bit beyond, so I will probably end right here. Hopefully I didn't overload anyone with too much information. And for those watching later, thank you so much. We're even just the support of just watching or talking about, either Voyage of Legacies, of course, that being us, but even just DC-20 helps a lot, because it's a new system with a ton of potential, and I'd really like to see support go. That's why I'm doing everything with DC-20 and not D&D, right? Is I want to see kind of support to go to this new system, because I believe there hasn't been really any changes I disagreed with. Maybe the elimination of Sonic, but I kind of understand after a while of that. The only other thing is like semantic stuff, right? The terminology around the current PDAD thing, right? Maybe we'll find some better terminology and Coach will come up with something else, but everything else Coach has done has just been absolutely fantastic, and I can't thank him enough for kind of giving me something to steer towards, hopefully. So yeah, for sure, please, get in the comments below, let me know what you think, and till next time, I hope you, in your personal lives or the lives of your characters, have a great voyage along their lives and leave awesome lasting legacies. Till next time.